see why that isn't possible because of the color of my skin, or I guess because the way I speak or where I come from or the fact that I wasn't born here. I just didn't see these things as real limitations. I just saw them as fake limitations that we've put on ourselves that kind of inhibits us from actually, maximizing our full potential by following certain types of templates that our parents have laid out for us since we were born. During my placement year, I would wake up in the morning and go to a place called Google Campus. And there I would go downstairs and work at the cafeteria area with other entrepreneurs that I guess wanted to start some kind of business for themselves. And my mom didn't know this. And again, she knew that I was working for a company, and every day from 9 to 6, I probably get home at 6:45. So there was nothing for her to kind of like see fishy and start investigating. I was doing very well. I was very consistent, and I guess that's what kind of helped me to actually, give what I was doing focus. And it worked out for me in the end. And looking back at it, I'm asking myself, like, would I do the same thing in regards to not telling my mom? And I probably would do the same thing because now I know where I am, if that makes sense. I don't want to take the gamble of telling her to find out where I could be, if that makes sense. And in our lives, we always have some people that we shouldn't share certain information with. It can be family, it could be friends, it could be loved ones. And a lot of the times our reasons is, oh, I've known this person for this amount of time. This people gave birth to me. Why should I hide it from them? Let me just tell them and take the pressure that comes with it. And a lot of the times it's the pressure that talks us out of doing the things that we love. Again, it's the pressure from people that talks us out of the things that we love doing. And it's important that although, yes, it's your parents, although your friend is amazing, although your loved one is amazing, you have to distance yourself when you know deep down that they don't share the same value or vision as you. Okay? A prime example is if you're telling someone that you want to start your own business and the person is telling you, no, you shouldn't, right? That's a red flag. Okay, that's a red flag, because I would like to invite into my life advice that doesn't take me off course. Okay, advice that takes me or provides me with a different perspective to doing something different, but still starting my own business. It's an advice that I would take because I know deep down in my heart what something from.
Hello, 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 hello. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Hi, Obed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, Obed, I can hear you. I can hear you.
You can all hear me. Can you all see me?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
All right, fantastic. So before we get into it, I need you guys to put your cameras on. If you had your discovery call with me, you know this is something that we have to make sure is in place. So please put your cameras on. Don't be shy, okay? Right now, the training ground, okay? You're not supposed to look your best. We're still training, okay? All right, so please put your cameras on. First of all, thank you so much for making it. Those of you that made it on time, amazing. I know some of you was sending messages in the group chat asking for the session to start because you actually came on time. Those of you that watched my video, I hope it gave you an insight in terms of what we're going to be talking about. And today's session is almost like us looking at the foundation of what we're trying to do. Okay, the foundation of what we're trying to do. The mistake that a lot of us make is that we jump straight into business and a year later, the business is nowhere to be found. Almost like an abandoned project. Okay, now today's session is going to be about your mindset, right? Developing that mindset to almost thinking like an entrepreneur. Okay, now before I get into the session, again, my name is Obed. I am one of the business coaches at Business Launchpad. I'm also from Shapeways. Now, this online session we will be recording it. Okay, one of the reasons why we're going to be recording it is so that, one, for safeguarding purposes, if anything happens, we need to be able to have a reference point to actually go back on to ensure that we have whatever has happened on video. Secondly, for those of you that need to go over the session, we would be able to send you a recorded version of this session for you to go over it in your own time. Okay, now we're just going to have some ground rules just to ensure that we're all on the same page. The first rule is, of course, we are going to respect each other, listen to each other's idea, and contribute to the session. It may feel like I'm the one that is in control of the session, but I would like for us to think of it as a collective contribution to the session, right? I just happen to be the person that his voice is most heard, but we're all contributors to this session. Okay, there will be no swearing, so please keep any swear words out of this. Do not swear. At any point in time you want to ask a question, you can use the react button on Zoom where you can just click it and raise your hand. If you do want to put stuff in the chat, I will definitely be reading it, okay? Because like I said, it is a collective effort to make sure that we're all on the same page, right? We are going to be working in groups. There will be some tasks that would also require you to work by yourself. But in all of what we're going to do, the main goal of this is to have clarity in terms of what we're doing and the expectations of what we're doing, and just understanding the realities of it. Okay, and just understanding the realities of it and picking up a few kind of tips, tricks to help you to cope with certain things. Right? Now, sometimes I know, especially when I was in secondary school, I would go into lesson and I would sit at the back, and I typically wouldn't take part in the lesson, but just to distract. I would say, please don't do that. Try to find yourself at the front row, right? And be a contributor, because essentially what you put in is exactly what you're going to get out. Okay? Before we get into it, does anyone have any questions in terms of what I've spoken about? Maybe you're not clear, maybe you need me to repeat something, please put it in a chat. If you're clear about everything, just put in a chat, let's go. Just put in a chat, let's go. And we can get the show on the road. Let's go. All right, fantastic. Jennifer, Damien, Dominica, Sarah, Natalie, Gift, Adriza. All right, fantastic. And before we go, remember, change your name to your full name. Change your profile name to your full name, just so that my colleague can actually take the register. I don't want to be calling out names like, who is iPhone? Okay, please change your name to your actual name, just so we can verify. Okay. All right, so once again, thank you so much for making it, and welcome to your first business session on the Business Launchpad Incubator program. And of course, for me, it's always a pleasure to have a session with you and to share the little knowledge that I've picked up over the years as an entrepreneur, and also hear your thoughts on some of the things that you're trying to achieve, and maybe the mindset of running a business is almost inhibiting you from actually making that. Okay, now this session, the slogan for it is think like an entrepreneur, right? And there isn't an actual verified way of saying, okay, this is how you think like an entrepreneur. Okay, but I am just going to give you some of the characters and the similarities in terms of ways of thinking and the way of living that I've seen in other entrepreneurs that have made some level of progress in whatever they're doing. Okay, so this is almost a conversation for us to identify what works for you, right? I don't expect you to take everything 100% and try to put it on who you are. Pick things that aligns with who you are and expand on it. Okay? Pick things that's based on who you are and expand on it. And of course, I'm just going to read through the objective, right? The focus is to build the mindset needed to grow a real business, including confidence, resilience, focus, and action. The key word here is action. Please take notes, okay? Giovanni, can you please put in the worksheets link to everyone just so that they have it on hand? But right now, I need you to take notes. Whether it's on your phone, notebook, take notes, right? When we start using the worksheets, I will let you know when to start using worksheets, right? And those of you that have gone off camera, come back on camera, okay? Be consistent. Don't start off well and then get worse, right? Be on camera throughout. I'm going to let you know when to use the worksheet. Don't use it right now, but I want you to be taking notes as I'm speaking and sharing, right? I will be picking you by name to speak and to share some insights. So I need you to pay very close attention. Now, the key word here is action. Action. Okay? By the end of the session, you will understand entrepreneurial mindset and why it's important having a good idea. Can someone put in a chat, last week, what did we close on in terms of what makes a good idea? In the chat. In the chat, what makes a good idea? Last week we talked about it. We talked about it last week. There is no excuses. I need to see almost about 28 to 29 comments in the chat. What did we say what makes a good idea? What did we say makes a good idea? I need to see at least 28 to 29 comments, right? Take part, don't exclude yourself. Don't think that somebody typed the answer so you're not going to type. Type it yourself as well, okay? Second bullet point is identify common mindset challenges like fear of failure, imposter syndrome, and perfectionism. Okay, becoming your first investor in your business, this is a key one. Learn the tools to stay focused, resilient, and consistent even when things get tough. For some of you that have already started a business before, a lot of the times the reason why you wasn't able to continue is simply because things got tough. It's not oftentimes it's because of funding, it's when things get tough. Reflect on your own mindset and build habits and support business that supports business success, right? Walk away with a personal commitment you will stick to during the program, okay? During the program. These are the key objectives that we're trying to make sure that you're able to walk away from this session tonight.
Evening, Ren. Evening, Ren.
I need everyone to mute yourself. Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. All right, so we're going to quickly do an icebreaker, okay? And I want you to type in a chat. And I'm going to be picking out names for you to speak as well, right? Now, if you have a fear of speaking in public, if you have any type of anxiety speaking in public, right? This is an example that I want you to do, right? When you start to speak, look up or look somewhere so you're not looking at the screen, but allow your voice to be heard, right? Don't think too much about it. Right now, I told you, right now we're practicing. So don't think too much about speaking. Just let it out, right? Whichever way it comes out, it comes out. But I'm going to give you 20 seconds to speak. Now, in the chat, what's one belief or fear you've had about business or being ready? What's one belief or fear you've had about business or being ready? Okay, I need to see the chat going off. I need to see the chat going off, right? I am going to be picking 2 people to speak, right? And you're both going to get 20 seconds to speak, right? But I'm going to read Nadia's one, that someone will take my idea and make it, and I will be left behind. Okay? I have Indigo, not good enough. Speaking in public, you know what? I'm going to pause that one there. Anissa, I need you to unmute. I need you to unmute and tell me about what you've typed. Anissa?
Can you hear me? Sorry.
I can hear you very well.
I think it's just more about people disliking and hating the idea, and then I think that just puts me off. Yeah, especially on social media.
Fantastic. And by the way, when you're talking about this, feel as confident talking about it, just as confident as when you're talking about your strengths. Okay, be okay speaking about limitations, just as much as you're okay speaking about your strengths. Okay, thank you so much, Lisa, for sharing that. Right? Bridget said lack of knowledge. Natalie said, I don't know how to do all of it. Okay, Vivian, I want to hear your thoughts. What is one belief or fear you have about business or being ready?
So about being ready, I would say that is looking at other market leaders and seeing how they're also dominating the market. And then when you're starting, you're thinking, how am I going to convince everyone around you that this is something new, this is something that could, that convincing people, why could I use this platform instead of another bigger one that's already thriving in the industry? Like, what's the point? They're doing everything already. That's what I kind of think about all the time.
I'm going to say fantastic to that. Okay, Dominica, I saw you picking up your tea. I'm going to give you the floor to also talk.
Sure. I said, what if it fails? I guess you're always kind of thinking, well, I've put in all this effort, put in all this money, spent all this time, and then what if it fails? Like, there's no guarantees. It's kind of always the back of your mind a bit.
And I'm going to say fantastic to that as well. Okay, I've got Sarah here, fear market response. I've got fear is making sure everything is right and correct in terms of legally and well prepared to handle everything that comes with it. I've got, I need to have the right marketing strategy. Trust me, we all need it. Failing the business, that's like a very big one, right? It seems so simple, but it's a very big one. I'm not that knowledgeable enough. I don't know what I'm doing, and they can tell. And they can tell when you're presenting your first pitch or your business, your service to a group of people, and you're asking yourself, I hope they can't see that I don't really know what I'm doing, right? These are all normal feelings. And to be fair, you're supposed to feel like that, right? Nobody comes to the start of anything ready, right? Nobody does, right? We just happen to make it look like we're ready, right? But nobody does. There is no perfect ground to start on. Okay, there is no perfect ground to start on. And I'm hoping that over the course of this session, we're going to start weeding some of these things, and we're going to start putting practical kind of measures in place to help you to understand when you start to feel like this, how to deal with it, right? If you see something coming, you can anticipate it a lot better in terms of how you deal with it, right? A prime example is, if I know someone is going to slap me, if I know I'm going to get slapped, someone is standing right in front of me and I know that they're about to slap me, I can tense my cheek, I can tense my body, I can probably close my eyes. All these different things helps in anticipation to deal with the pain a lot better. But if someone slaps me without me knowing, I feel it a lot more, right? And all these doubts and all these different things that you kind of feel is stopping you from getting from A to B, a lot of it, when it's coming, you don't see it. And the time that you see it is when it has already engulfed you. It has already taken over you. And then it's a lot harder to come out of it because you're in handcuffs, right? And the only way to go from there is the exit. Literally, the exit. Okay? If you fail, you can't get out of life of constantly thinking you will stay average. Okay? A lot of these things, I want you to keep at the forefront of your mind. Okay? All right, so I'm going to move into what is an entrepreneurial mindset. Please take notes. Please take notes, especially if you have your one-to-ones with me. Don't take notes straight away. I'm looking at you like, are you actually serious about what you're trying to do? Or is this just like some kind of fun thing for you to do with your time, right? Please take notes because I will be asking you in our one-to-one sessions and we will be going over this, right? All right, so what is an entrepreneurial mindset, right? And I've gone over it. Here are 7 core traits, but I've gone over it, okay? I've gone over it. Now, the first one is self-belief. Self-belief. And from what everyone has said, right, it all boils down to self-belief, right? And trusting that you're capable. And a lot of the times, the reason why we don't believe in ourselves is probably we don't see examples out there for us to see that, oh, this person looks like me, comes from where I come from, and is actually able to do this. A lot of it comes from that. A lot of it comes from family in terms of how well your family has been able to build themselves as a family. It comes from what you're exposed to. For me, for instance, I was born in Ghana. I came to the UK when I was 8 years old. And I quickly realized the reason why my parents came to the UK is for a better opportunity. And I remember one time, my dad was on the phone to, this time I was about 12 years old. And I remember vividly, he was on the phone, I think to a company. And I heard him say, me and my wife are professional cleaners. Me and my wife are professional cleaners. And I couldn't understand, right? Because before I came to the UK, in Ghana, we had housemaids. So I was a bit taken back in terms of, okay, wait, hold on. You come all the way to the UK and you're selling yourself as a professional cleaner. I was hoping that you would want a bit more than that because in Ghana, you have someone cleaning for you. Right? These are all things that are happening in our households, some of us. So the self-belief context is very difficult to actually believe that you can do anything more than what you're exposed to. Some of us, it's in school. For some of you, you should have sat in a higher paper, but you ended up doing foundation because your teachers didn't believe that you could sit a higher paper. So the best you could get is a C. So you've always seen yourself as the average student because you've never been given the opportunity to do more. Right? Resilience, having resilience, getting back up after things don't go as planned. And in our discovery course, one of the questions that was asked is what? What do you do when things don't go according to plan? Right? What do you do when things don't go according to plan? Jamie, I need you to unmute, and I'm going to ask you this question. What do you do when things don't go according to
plan? When things don't go according to plan, initially panic, think through different solutions, call up people who might know better than me for advice. But yeah, basically take action in any way I can.
Fantastic. Right? Fantastic. But you know what? One thing that's funny is it's easy saying it because we all like the concept of stuff until it happens. Right? Until it happens, it's almost like when you pray for something, but then when you go out to get that thing, the things that you have to go through in order to get that thing, oftentimes we're not prepared to do those things. Right? So it's a lot easier for myself here to say, well, if things don't go according to plan, I just look for a way. But the in-betweener is when things don't go according to plan, a lot of us stay within the thinking phase and we start to let the doubts creep in. Right? We start to let the doubts creep in. And oftentimes we go to a person that will probably understand why the doubts are creeping in and they're okay with us saying that we don't want to do it anymore. We often look for comfort. We all do it. Right? When things don't go according to plan. Put at the back of your mind. When things don't go according to plan, don't look into it as, don't fantasize about, oh, I do this. No, look at your life, look at the things that you've always wanted to do and ask yourself, why haven't I been able to do it? Why have I only been able to start but can't be consistent? What happened that didn't go according to plan that made me not want to do it? A lot of us, when we start our business and we create our social media pages and we put our posters and we see that nobody's liking it, nobody's going on our website, our friends called friends is not even sharing it. And then we're like, what's the point? What is the point? Right? You're supposed to be my friend. And we give up. And then we give up. Curiosity, always asking questions, learning and testing. Right? I know at least half of the people in here wouldn't ask a question because of fear of being judged that you're not smart enough. It happened to a lot in school. Right? I would never put my hand up and ask a question because I feel like it may be too obvious and I'll be looked at as the stupid one. And that habit grows with us all the way till our adult life. Right? So you will go to a networking event instead of asking a question of, hey, I want to do this, but I don't really know what I'm doing. Are you able to help me in any shape or form? I'll take anything. A lot of us don't want to come across like we don't know what we're doing. Right? A lot of us don't want to be honest so that the right support can come in. So we stay not knowing and we stay throwing a lot of things on the wall and hoping that one sticks. And sometimes none of it sticks. These are the harsh realities of things. Right? Taking action. Right now, we live in a generation where we honestly, we honestly have the best plans, but when it comes to laying out our plans and being practical, we fall short. Right? I have so many one-to-ones who I speak to, so many aspiring entrepreneurs that have a plan. But then when you ask, what have you done with the plan? I don't know. I was thinking about doing this, but I don't know. But then they have a plan. Right? But taking action, again, it goes back to self-belief, doubts. Oh, I don't want to put my face out there because the business hasn't grown yet. I don't want to stand by the business and let everybody know that I'm the one doing this if I'm not getting at least 150 likes on social media. If I'm not working with this company that everybody knows, I stand by this and go ahead and do it because people will just think that I'm a loser. Right? All these things stops us from what? Taking action. And number 5 is simply accountability. Accountability, accountability, accountability. Stuart, I need you to unmute yourself. Speak to me about accountability.
So accountability is when you take responsibility of your own actions on depending on what you want to do and your plans for the future. So you have to take responsibilities on the positives and the negative sides of what happens to you throughout your own journey, and create solutions on how to overcome those obstacles.
Thank you, Stuart. Edriza, can you unmute? Edriza, if you can hear me, can you unmute? Speak to me about accountability, but relate it to yourself in terms of whatever you want to do in life. When was the last time you felt that you genuinely took accountability for some of the results that you had created or some of the shortcuts that you had created?
I think the most recent time, other than now, where I took accountability was when I had to finish my dissertation for my final year in my degree. And I had to really recognize, because I was doing a project on the side, I had to realize that I couldn't do everything at the same time and that something had to give, because everything was taking me, and the thing that I found most important was losing a lot of my time. And it was also affecting the outcome.
Thank you for sharing that. Right. Now, like I said, this session is a collective session. Okay. Caddy, I want you to speak to me about problem solving. How do you typically solve problems? Now, I want you to relate it to your business and what you're trying to do. What does that look like for you regarding problem solving?
So I think in terms of problems with the charity that I am trying to bring up, the problem would be like finding somebody that I can trust, but then I can find a solution, whether it's like family or I have to go there and meet and network people that can become my business partners. But also, for example, I was doing like some bags with food and stuff, and I found that China was more expensive and it was going to take longer. So I problem solved by finding somebody in Senegal that could make it cheaper and readily available. So just finding solutions, but also being quick on your feet. When I have plans, what I usually do is like I have a plan A and a B. I should probably do a C as well, but that helps me, because when I have a problem, then I'm like, okay, to plan B, we're going, let's get started. Because when I pause, I'm probably not going to get back to it. I'm never going to do it, which is like why my charity has not moved forward, because I've seen like, oh, I need a trustee. There's a problem. I can't really solve it because I haven't thought further.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Right. You have a lot of insight, right? The ability to be able to have a holistic view of you as an individual and why you haven't been able to get from A to B, right, is such a powerful gift to have. Right? Problem solving, like, it's one of those things that fundamentally having your own business, wanting to start something, and the key word is wanting to start something that nobody cares about. The only person that cares about you starting a business is you and maybe a few friends and family. Nobody else is losing sleep over you want to start a business. The only time that you get people to care about it is what? And someone put it in that. The only time that people care about your business is what? Someone put it in the chat. Someone put something in the chat. Vivian, fantastic, value. Right? When you solve their problems. When you solve their problem. Now, make a note of that. Value. When you solve their problem. The only time that people care about your business is when you solve their problem. Please pin it on the wall because we're going to come back to this, right? We're going to come back to this. Pin it on the wall. Growth mindset, believing you can learn new skills and improve over time, right? Growth mindset, coming to the table with what you have and believing that where there's life, if there is going to be tomorrow, there is surely going to be progression. If you're not going to go through to the exit route. Where there is tomorrow and you do not stop, progress naturally follows. Where there is tomorrow, even when it's raining, you still turn up. Even when the thunder is going off, you still turn up. Even when you feel like the last thing you want to do is to show up, but you still turn up, there is going to be progress. And through progression, you naturally improve. Because repetition, being able to do repeatable things over and over and over again, you either get incredibly good at it or you get faster. Being able to ride through the storm, being able to turn up every single session, being able to complete all your tasks for 3 months, you will end up being better, whether you like it or not. Right? And please don't blame me, blame God. Naturally, things just work that way. If you put in 50%, if you put in 40%, if you put in 30%, then expect the same percentage at the end. But coming to the table with what you have is always going to be enough to start. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to understand everything. You don't need to know everybody. The fact you turn up and begin that journey, actually, things starts to lock in. Lock in, lock in. Okay? And lastly, first investor. First investor. Janine, I want you to speak to me about first investor. Just based on your understanding. First investor. Investor.
I guess you're just the first person that puts money in the business. Yeah, I think so.
Does anybody disagree? Just put in a chat, I disagree. Does anybody disagree with Janine's statement? First person that believes in the idea, Anissa, thank you. I disagree. Adriza, can you unmute? Can you
Yeah, I think I disagree because I think your first investor is the first person who actually believes in your idea, which is you. So I guess I disagree to an extent where it's more than money. So it's the first person to put their time, to put their energy, to put their effort into the business. Everything that comes with the business is you're the first person to, I guess, take accountability for it.
Thank you for sharing that. Now, both of you are correct. Both of you are correct, right? Because your time is also money, right? We substitute our time for money. So if you don't have the time to do something, you do what? You pay someone with money to do it, okay? But I want you to really pay attention to being your first investor. If you don't have a job right now, and if you know the business needs money, at least to get going, one of the things that you should always keep at the back of your mind is what? I need to find something that can fund this, right? So that when I speak to someone, they don't see me as just all talk. Okay? You don't have to have a job right now, but at the mind, inside your brain, you need to have that at the back of your head that, you know what? Okay, I need to make at least £1,000 to build this. I need to make £500. I need to make 2,000 to build this. And that may result in you going to get a job. Right? That may mean going to get a job. And it's okay to get a job to fund your business. It's okay. I know right now the culture makes it look like I quit my job and I started my business and I'm making, 3 figures and 6 figures and all that stuff. I know online promotes that. Right? But don't fall for the trap. It's only probably the 1% that are able to get their business to grow that fast and they quit their job. Right? Plan an exit. Plan your exit from your 9 to 5. Don't just quit. Plan the exit. Have a strategy to exit. And if you don't have a job, we may look at the CV and look at what you can do. Is it from working from home as a freelancer? Going into the office 4 days a week? Working only 3 days a week. So you can have 2 days or another 2 days to be able to work on the business. We have to make things happen in order for us to get to where we want to be. And it's called hustling. You have to hustle. Okay? You have to hustle. Does anybody know who this is?
Steve Bartlett.
Who?
Stephen Bartlett.
Someone? Steve Bartlett. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about Steve Bartlett? What do you know about Steve Bartlett? Anything.
He's a Dragon's Den investor. He also has a Diary of a CEO podcast.
Who listens to or who watches Diary of a CEO? Who listens to it? Who watches it? Indigo watches it. Wow. He has a lot of audience here. Wow. Okay. At least now we know who we need to bring up here to speak. All right. Behind the diary. Okay. Who knows about Steve Bartlett's struggles? Who knows him before that? Who knows his story? Please put it in the chat. If you know anything, please just unmute. Talk to me. Talk to me. Treat me as an 8-year-old. I don't know this guy from anywhere. But I feel like he's done something amazing in life. But I would like to know how he started and what are some of the things that he had to deal with. Okay, Jamie, you brought it up on the podcast a few times, I believe, can't remember, just that he had food insecurity. He once stole a pizza when he had no money. Wow. Wow. Anything else? Anyone? Please share. Right. For some of you, a lot of you said that you watch his stuff, but I want to know if you've gone back in terms of what made him become who he is. He started a social media company which made him big. I want to know before that. Right? And guess what? Whilst you're typing this, I want you to understand when you've been able to create results and you've been able to get from A to B, and now people see you as, oh my God, this person is so lucky. They are probably not going to know the days that you had to join Business Launchpad's Incubator program, right, online, listening to somebody called Obed just yabbing on, right? They don't know when you had to travel into Tooting or Lambeth to do the sessions, speak in front of people that you don't know, the discomfort of having to deal with the realities of creating something that nobody cares about. A lot of people wouldn't have that idea. A lot of people are just going to see you up there and genuinely say you're so lucky.
Obed. So I'm a bit of a Stephen Bartlett geek. So can I tell you a bit that I know about him?
Please, I would love to.
All right. So Stephen Bartlett, I've been following him for quite a long time. So he was actually born in Botswana. His mom is Nigerian. His dad is British. And they kind of came to England when he was very young. He was probably, I don't know, 2 or 3, something like that. But when you listen to his story, he has a kind of, I don't know, rough relationship with his mom. So never had a good relationship there. He kind of looked at his mom as someone who wasn't progressive, always shouting at him, that kind of stuff. He also always says his mom was illiterate, but his dad was a structural engineer, I think. His sort of narrative is also around him dropping out of uni. I think he went to Plymouth, but he had behavioral and engagement issues like you. He was expelled and excluded multiple times because he constantly missed classes. And then I think he went to another uni, but also he dropped out. He just couldn't hack it. I think he went for one lecture and then he dropped out. But when you listen to him, he always talks about like feeling like he uses the phrase othered quite often when he refers to his younger self, etc., and how he felt that he engaged with education and just with the system overall, right? Anyway, around entrepreneurship, he back in 2010, 2012, something like that, before some of you were probably born, he set up a business, Wool Park. I don't know if any of you guys know about that. It's like an app. I was saying to some of you guys in the session the other evening, like, do you know Aki.com? Do you know High Five? So he was around back in them days setting up like social apps, message boards, that kind of stuff. And then he actually in 2014 set up the thing that I think kind of got him onto the social entrepreneurship ladder, really got him onto the ladder. He set up Social Chain, which is like a social media marketing and comms company. He set that up with a partner. And then that grew, like, it just took off. And then there was a merger. I can't remember the full story around that, but Social Chain is what kind of, got him there. And then you guys know the rest because that's the more recent to date stuff. But he is crucial. And yeah, the Diary of a CEO, I think as Indigo mentioned, behind the diary is definitely like, forget the Dragon's Den situation because it was just refreshing to see him as a young person that was relatable on Dragon's Den. But I guess those stories you guys know. He's also got a book that's a Sunday Times bestseller. Like, I love him. Love him.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Alicia. Right.
Bye.
And I'm going to also read through some of the things that he has said, just to give you a different context. But I want you to try to see if you can relate it to you, right, in any way or shape or form. Okay. All right. So his first venture failed purely based on the fact that there were lack of funding and rejections. Underline rejections. Rejections. Please make a note of rejections. Being rejected, as in we don't want to do this. Please leave the building. We're going to get back to you, but we never actually get back to you. Right? I like it, but I'm not prepared to pay for it. Okay? Rejection. Being rejected. Something that you spent so much time cultivating, something that you spent so much time trying to make it make sense. And somebody looks at it for about 2 minutes and they simply tell you, I don't see any value in this. Rejection. Lack of funding. Being Black, trying to access capital funding, the capitalist and all that stuff, it's not easy. It is not easy. Right? Living in poverty, stealing food, someone mentioned this, stealing food from corner shops and even skipping meals, showering in local gyms. And that's actually a smart one. Right? If you're homeless, the gym is actually a good one, right? But local gyms and sleeping on friends' couch. Self-doubt, the almighty self-doubt, right? He often felt imposter syndrome, being a Black entrepreneur in a room full of older, wealthy business people. And this even makes me remember the event I attended before I met Business Launchpad, right? Please mute. If you're not muted, please mute. The event I attended at the Google campus before I met Business Launchpad, a gentleman came to me and said that, well, come back to me when you have a few grays in your hair, literally, right? And to be fair, I've recently started seeing gray hair coming out, so I think I may have to reach back out to him and see if he's willing to help me, right? Now, all these things are happening. Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. I'm getting a lot of feedback. Please mute yourself, right? All these things are happening, right? Rejection again. Hundreds of brands actually dismissed him as too young, inexperienced, right? These are some of the realities of it, right? And maybe his presentation wasn't as good because, again, lack of knowledge, lack of understanding. But guess what? He still came to the table. He still came to the table. Like, let's actually look at this properly. He still came to the table after rejection, being Black, having imposter syndrome, skipping meals, shower. Imagine that life, right? Everybody has a starting point. Everybody has a starting point. One of the things that I've quickly realized is that everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. And most of the times, your story, where you started from, and sometimes where you get to, you almost don't qualify to be there. When you actually look at it on paper, you do not qualify to be there. Right? I can honestly tell you, there are meetings that I've been in that I've had to, before introducing myself, I have to introduce myself in a way that, hey, I'm not here to harm anyone, but my name is Obed. Right? All these things are happening because nobody comes to the table perfect. Right? If you're expecting to be accepted because you're human, then you're in for a real shock. Right? Because again, nobody cares until what? Nobody cares until what? Please unmute.
Until
Nobody
you're
cares.
successful.
Solving the problem. Until you solve the problem.
Fantastic. So then when you go into meetings, and when you go into places and people are looking at you funny, remember, I just haven't solved their problem. It's not personal. Right? It's not personal. It's not to make me feel like I can't do this. If they rejected me, it's not personal. It's not because I can't do it. I just haven't come to the table understanding their problem. And next week, Monday, if you're going to miss any session, next week, Monday session, I would listen with 4 ears because it's actually about solving the problem, identifying who your target customers are. All these limitations, but guess what? He grew his business into a 300 million company by his late 20s. Became the youngest ever investor on BBC Dragon's Den. Now runs Diary of a CEO podcast, one of the biggest in Europe. Now, when you look at this, forget what I showed you previously. When you look at this, he's actually lucky. Like, he definitely comes from a great family. Right? A lot of the times, when you look at someone, you may miss, and I would always say, when you're listening to people like him, when you listen to anyone, right? Sometimes when people become mega successful and they're advising you, it's very out of touch. It's very, very out of touch. It's very, very out of touch, right? Because now their mindset has shifted. Before, they wouldn't turn down £50, but now £50, don't even see it, let alone talk about it, right? But then when you go and research about how the person started, you begin to understand. Always go back to how they started. If you can get some content of the person during the time that they're trying to do something, it would always give you greater context to how you can create results, right? Because someone can look at Diary of a CEO, right, podcast, and look at the presentation of it, and they're going to wake up and say that I need to buy a camera that's worth £5,000. I need to buy this. I need to buy this. Jesus, I barely have £1,000 in my bank account. Well, I don't want to do this. This is long. It's too expensive. I can't afford it. But then if you go back to when he started, you realize that everybody has a humble beginning. So instead of you looking at his highlights, based on where you are, you have to go and check where he was and relate it to you. Is it relatable? Can we relate? Can we understand? Right? It's super, super important because you miss the message. You miss the main thing when you don't have context, but you only see the highlights. Super, super, super important. And now we're going to go into groups. We're going to go into groups, okay? For those of you that have a phone, take it off the screen, like, right? I'm trying to do a snap, right? Because you're going to go into groups. And within your groups, and I need you to start using your worksheets. Giovanni, can you please put in the link for you to start using your worksheets because you're about to complete your first group session, right? Your first group session, okay? And I need you to answer these questions, and I'm just going to read it through, and then I'm going to put you in a breakout room, right? There's going to be about 3 of you in the breakout room, and it's for you to answer these questions, right? And these are very simple questions, but I want you to answer it from a very honest place. I don't want the political, the correct answer. I don't want the correct answer. I'm not looking for perfection, right? I'm not looking for perfection, but just look within yourselves, within the group, and answer it according to how you would react or how you would deal with things, okay? How you would deal with things. So mindset barriers and reframes. And in your small groups, the first question is: a competitor launches a similar product before you. Jesus, that is one of the biggest headaches, right? One of the biggest headaches. You lose your biggest client unexpectedly. Jesus, right? And I've got a story to that, and I'll come back to it. The pandemic, we lost not just the biggest clients, we lost everything. I had to go to people and say that we're about to close Shapeways because we can't pay our rent. This is the honest truth, right? Now, if you asked me this before that happened, I would tell you that, well, I'm going to work hard and get another client. But when it hit, when the real hit, I thought it was curtains. We're done with Shapeways, right? This is how I need to be honest about your actions, okay? Sales have dropped for 3 months straight. You're putting out ads, nobody's trying to hear about your product. For some reason, you lost your mojo, right? Your marketing campaign received negative feedback, okay? You have an opportunity to expand, but limited funds. Everybody's saying, no, we don't believe in this, right? How would you go about doing this? I want you to pull up your worksheets in this session, and within your groups, I want you to work through it. I want to hear you speak. When I'm moving around, when I come into your breakout rooms, I need to see communication. I need to see some level of explanation with each other, okay? I'm going to put you in your groups now. You're going to see something pop up on your screen, and just click OK or yes, okay? Just click OK or yes. Now, make sure you've taken a picture of this screen because you need it in your groups to be able to answer the question. And use your worksheets to log your replies or what you would do, okay? I'm going to give you about 7 minutes to do this, okay? 7 minutes to do this. All right, so if you see something pop up, just admit yourself. If you don't know who is in your group, say, hello, my name is X, Y, and Z. Let's get this thing done. Okay, and then we're going to come back in 7 minutes. Start accepting. Start accepting. You should have seen it. Start accepting. Go to your groups, and let's do this. Go into your groups. Start accepting. Please make sure you read the questions. Answer it to the best of your knowledge. Okay, answer it to the best of your knowledge. Answer it to the best of your knowledge. And I need you to join. And I need you to assign to. I'm going to be doing a timer. I'm going to be doing a timer.
How long's the timer for?
For 7 minutes. 7
7
minutes.
minutes. So I'll
7
jump in
minutes.
each. I'm gonna jump in each room and just remind them that it's 7 minutes.
Yes. 7 minutes.
Cool. Thank you.
still waiting for everyone to come back. But while we're waiting for everyone, I'm going to ask Aisha, can you share what your first answer was for the first question? What's your first question?
The first question was first question was, a competitor launches a similar product before you. What would you do? And we discussed, I was in a group with Elijah in India, and the three of us discussed that we should still go for it and we should still execute our vision and our idea. Although if your competitor's product is good, then it might be a little bit risky. But
You've muted.
I think I was unmuted in the middle of my sentence. Should I repeat it again?
Yeah, go ahead and repeat it.
So I was in a group with Elijah in India, and the three of us discussed the answer to this question, which was, a competitor launches a similar product before you, what would you do? So we said we should still go for it, and even if the product of your competitors is good, it might be a bit risky, but if your brand is unique and you have strength in your vision, then you can still execute what you want to do.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Ola Donny, Ola, if you unmute.
Ola Donny.
Oh, okay, thank you for correcting me. Now, what was your answer to the second question?
Okay, we need to make this quiet. So we were saying that we will ask for feedback if we can get feedback. So we want to understand what, I wouldn't say directly we did wrong, but what happened, what made them go, and kind of improve off that. Also, we said that, for example, I said, what if it's a thing where we can't get feedback from the client? What happens then? We said, obviously, life doesn't stop there. You still keep going, still try and improve. But what if it's also a problem with the market? What do you do then? And then obviously one of my colleagues said, or my peers said, that how we would try and create a problem to solve the new problem. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. I'm going to pick on Fatima. Fatima, would you like to tell me what your answer to the third question?
Am I unmuted or am I muted?
I hear you, so you're definitely unmuted.
Okay. So in terms of the sales dropping for 3 months straight, I would look at the past 3 months, and try to find out why the sales have dropped, and then use that to then come up with a solution for it. Also, I will kind of again study the market and just study, I guess, everything to see is it the clients that's the issue? Is it my product that's the issue? I will just do a lot of research to find out what the actual problem is and then try to solve the problem.
Thank you for that. And I'm going to call on Stuart for the fifth question. What is your answer to the fifth question? You have opportunity to expand, but limited funds. Hello, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah. So I was saying that to find the right person who could show or the person who's specialized in area of expanding the business with limited funds, finding strategic ways on how to expand your enterprise in the cheaper ways.
Thank you for sharing that. And lastly, I'm going to call on Indigo to give us some insight. Indigo, when you're ready.
So in the group that I was in, we were talking about all the different ways in which you try to problem solve. And one of the points that I made is when you are under stress, it's harder to think clearly. And what you will end up falling back on are your well-being systems, right? Your well-being rituals that you have. So one of the questions that I was posing is, what are the rituals that you currently have in place to take care of yourself, to ensure that you have, you are able to come back to center and think clearly? Because it's all well to be rational now, right? We can listen to these problems and say, yeah, I'll do this and I'll do that. It's really easy. But when you're really stressed and loads of things are happening, what are your dietary rituals in terms of how are you maintaining it and ensuring that your body is getting the nutrition that it needs? What are your support systems? Who do you call on? Who are your advisors who can give you sound, truthful, honest advice? Who are the people you're surrounding yourself by, right? What are your workout rituals, right? It sounds really like, oh, that doesn't sound like business, but actually everything begins with your well-being. And when things are stressful and chaotic, you will fall back down to your baseline. So if your baseline is unhealthy, you don't really have a foundation to stand on when things go wrong, right? So I want you to consider that it's easy now to think about things when it's, you know, you're logical and you're in this good phase. But if things aren't good, what are the rituals you pull on? What are your anchors? Who are your anchors? And that's something I think we should all kind of reflect on and ensure that we have in place before we are in crisis.
Thank you so much, Indigo, for sharing that. Definitely an important aspect of it. And I'm going to go into it a little bit more after this as well, okay? So I'm going to share my screen, and this time we don't need to go into the breakout room, right? This time we don't need to go into the breakout room. Give me 1 second to get my screen. Okay. All right. Now, I need you to all unmute yourself, keep yourself muted, right? And now I want you to look at yourself, just sit back and just look at yourself, right? Still using your worksheets, right? Still using your worksheets. This is all on you now. This is a group thing. This is between you and your God, right? This is between you and yourself, right? I want you to focus on reflecting on these things and write down your honest answers. Now, these answers is what we're going to use in our one-to-ones to propel you, right? Please don't sugarcoat it. Don't look at it from, I want to come across this way, so no. I want you to be very honest, okay? Very honest about what fears keeps showing up when you think about starting or growing your business. What fear, still in your worksheets, right? What fears keeps showing up? Now, highlight the word keeps. It means that I want you to speak to me about something that hasn't only just happened once, but it has showed up more than once. What keeps showing up when you think about starting your business or growing your business? Okay, I want you to strip away all the highlights. I want to look amazing. I want you to just give me the bare bones of what is going on, right? What does it look like, right? And I want to ask you another question, which is, are you waiting for some kind of permission? And when I say that, I'm not talking about, are you waiting for someone to tell you you can do only, right? Maybe waiting to have all the knowledge. Maybe all the knowledge means that you qualify. Maybe being qualified means that you need a certificate. Maybe you're waiting for a group of people to accept it. Those people could be parents. Those people could be friends. Those people could be community groups. Those people could be anything that you see that could be a barrier, right? And what exactly is stopping you from taking action? What permission are you waiting to get? What is the permission? What is the permission that you're waiting? Please type it. And don't worry about how much you type. Just let it out. What permission are you hoping that you get? What validation are you waiting to get? What would put the battery in your back that you're going to make this happen, that you're confident that you're going to make this happen if I get this, if I know this, if I have this person, if this person supports me, like, give me something that you're hoping that could come on board to help you. Right? Give me something. What thing is holding you back to confidently start? Okay? What would you do differently if you fully believed you could succeed? So what would I do differently if I fully believe I could succeed? Now, what I'm asking you, this question, what I'm asking you is to step out of yourself and get a bird's eye view of yourself, which is very difficult. It's very, very difficult what I'm asking you to do, right? Step out of yourself and look at yourself, but then look at yourself from a place of, I have no limitations. What would you do differently? What would you do differently? Whilst you're writing that, okay, I'm going to give you five more minutes to put this together. 5 more minutes to put this together, okay? Write as much as you need to write, right? Write as much as you need to write, because everything that you're going to do from here on, this session has to be the thing that we use in your one-to-ones to create a system that allows you to create results. Right? We're going to be remodeling this to use it as pillars, systemize it in a way that we stand on it. We stand on it, right? You stand on it to create results. Something that you look at to see as an inhibiting force. This time, we're going to remodel it and use it as a stepping stone. We're going to stand on it. As in, we're going to stand on it. Okay? I want you to take your time and write this. Right? There is no rules. Whatever you feel it is that is there, write it down. Okay? And before you went into the breakout room, whilst you're doing this, during the lockdown, so Shapeways, majority of our work is in schools. We do a lot of work with Princess Trust. We also do a lot of sessions in community groups and councils and community centers and things of that nature. And during the lockdown, remember, schools weren't allowing any extra provision. A lot of our ways of making money is through schools, right? And a lot of it also comes from Princess Trust, which is now Kim's Trust, right? When they all shut down, remember, we still had to pay rent. We still had to pay rent, right? And I remember during that time, I had to still pay rent to Tooten Works, and I had to go and speak to Stuart, who was at that time the CEO of Tooting Works and Business Launchpad. And I said, Stu, we won't be able to pay you rent because I don't have the money to even pay any of the staff members. Right? I don't have the money. And I remember the person that spoke about Steve Bartlett, so that's Felicia. So she's the right now the CEO of Business Launchpad and Tooting Works. And if you're someone who is very fast, right? One of the things that I've always tried to do in my entrepreneurial journey is to try to get mentorship from people that know more than me, right? Typically. So if any of you, if I was you guys, and I am trying to maximize my full potential, I would somewhere along the lines be asking for Felicia's email, and I would be writing a very, very personal email and hope that she could give some of her time to provide some mentorship, right? Now, when someone provides mentorship, what does it look like? They open up their contacts to you. So a lot of the things that maybe you don't know how to do, she may know someone that knows how to do it. Right now, we also have our program manager here as well, right? Who is Indigo, the last person that spoke, right? The last person that spoke. Also, this is a prime contact to have in terms of giving insight and what? Understanding and context, right? Always look at people that have some level of control or that are in high positions, because typically those people know people, right? So a lot of the things that maybe it would take you a long time to do, you may be able to get a shortcut with it. So I'm just only speaking to one ear. I'm not going to say anything more. When I got a call from Felicia, and I said to Felicia, this is the end of Shapeways. I can't afford it. We literally can't afford it. And during that time, it was one of the most darkest days in my life that I can vividly remember. Look, this was really bad. I had ruptured my Achilles. When all these things was going on, I was getting heart palpitations. And remember, when I finished university, I've never actually gone and worked for anyone. So business is actually everything that I know in terms of creating value. And imagine seeing this thing closing. And I remember that time, Felicia simply said to me, you are not going to shut down, and we're not going to let you shut down. And I was actually fighting her that I am going to shut down. And she's telling me, no, you're not going to shut down. Right? I then got an email from Stu, and he simply said, we're going to give you grace, we're going to give you some extension, right? We understand the issue, X, Y, and Z. Okay, fine. I was on Instagram. And whilst I was on Instagram, just kind of like going through different people that I can contact and see if they have work, I got a message from Kevin, who is the regional manager for King's Trust. Asked, hey, Obed, we're looking for someone to provide some digital training online for our cohorts during the lockdown. Can you do it? We had never done anything online before. And I just said, yes. I didn't know how to do it. I just said, yes. Fast forward, we run a program for a week, and I realized, hold on, they pay us what? 3,500 for a week program, right? Fast forward, during the lockdown, we made more money during the lockdown than actually when there was no lockdown, right? Something that I was ready to close. And if I listened to my own voice, I would have closed it, I promise you. I was getting heart palpitations, going to Whitton Hospital, emergency, telling them to run tests because I don't know what's going on. I think I'm having a heart attack, right? These things were happening for real, right? And I couldn't tell anyone. I couldn't even tell my mom. I couldn't tell anyone, right? All I was doing is just calling the hospital, guys, I need to do this test. And the run test and the doctor called me saying that it's just heart palpitation, don't worry. And I made him swear on his mom's life that nothing is going to happen to him. Right? Now, all these things were happening because the business was going down. And you need someone to be there in your circle, someone that the days that you can't see, that person can be your vision. Right? You need someone. Now, these reflections that you've done, I'm not going to say, come and speak about it. Because I know for some of you, it may be very personal. And I would rather you speak about it with your business coach. Right? I'm not going to ask you to talk about it. Right? I know it's personal. But I want you to keep it at the back of your mind. In order for us to get you from A to B, we need to understand what we're dealing with on a fundamental level. Forget business, on a fundamental level, what are we dealing with? Because it's going to show up again. And for some of you, you're going to quit this program, unfortunately. Right? Unfortunately, it's going to show up again. And the reason may be something as basic, but it's enough for you to quit. This is why we want to deal with it as soon as possible. Okay? As soon as possible. Now, I want you to go into your Trello and things of that nature. I want you to go into your notebook and all that stuff. And action planning, building a mindset routine. Building a mindset routine, and Indigo touched up on this, right? Building a mindset routine. This is super important. This is super, super important, right? I want you to choose at least 3 habits or mindset tools you will use to stay consistent over the next 4 weeks. I'm not asking for 12 weeks. I'm just asking for 4 weeks. We're going to revisit this in 4 weeks, right? Some of these ideas could be morning mantra or affirmation, right? Affirmation. Okay. Now, these things, sometimes I don't do it every single time, but sometimes I wake up and I tell myself, right? Right now, I'm in Ghana. Ghana, I'm extending our services in Ghana, and it's a new playing field. Sometimes I wake up with anxieties. Right? And a lot of the times doing one-to-one business support is almost like the way to escape things, right? And this is why I enjoy sessions and things of that nature, right? As much as it's good for you, it's also very good for me, right? And I wake up and I tell myself that I am good enough, right? If I am good enough in the UK, I am also good enough in Ghana. And this is just another playing field. I am good enough. I will not be emotionally attached to the outcomes of anything that happens. I understand that nobody cares about this until I provide what? Value. Right? Weekly business check-in, what worked, what didn't. This is your one-to-one sessions. This is your one-to-one sessions. Your one-to-one sessions is weekly check-in. That means if I'm your business coach, I need to see your face every single week. Every single week, including this week. So for those of you that haven't booked your session this week, but rather next week, please go back and look at this week, right? Even if the session is half an hour, it's better than no hour. Even if, right? You have your session links. You have your session links, okay? Please book your session for this week. Lock it in this week. Okay? This week, celebrating small wins weekly. Celebrate yourself. Look, right now, we have a WhatsApp group. Every single thing that you do, whether it's big or small, celebrate it. Put it in the group. Let me celebrate it with you. Let us celebrate it with you. Anything that you see that you have achieved. It could be, guys, before I used to be able to do my work for 5 minutes. Now I can do 10 minutes. Right? Celebrate it because it's a way of your brain appreciating itself and it's allowing you to work and create the results. Right? Reflection is important. Right? Be proud of yourself. Speak positivity. Acknowledge your wins. Acknowledge your wins. Okay? For some of you, mindset journals, voice notes. Now, for your homework, I'm going to go into your homework later on, but your homework has an activity that I want you to do. Right? Your homework has an activity that I want you to do. Accountability partner or group check-in. By the end of this week, we will be creating a group kind of work plan where we would put you in groups. Okay, we would put you in groups. And the reason is entrepreneurship is quite lonely. It is quite lonely. But it doesn't have to be lonely. It doesn't have to be lonely. Right? So it's just about having someone that you can bounce ideas off. I can see now people are signing up for this week. Amazing. Please, if you haven't, make sure this week I see your face. I need to see at least 17 people's face this week. Okay? And if I don't see your face, I'm definitely going to be giving you a call. Right? I will be giving you a call. Because right now, accountability partner is me and your other business coach. Right? We're going to grind it out until you get there. Okay? Accountability partner. I want you to pick at least 3 habits that you're going to work on for 4 weeks. 4 weeks. I will be speaking to you about this. So please have it down so we can talk through it as well. Right? I don't want you to go through this program not having a strong foundation, then later on you quit and I'm having to chase you and I'm trying to figure out what's going on and then the conversations gets a lot. This is why we're going through this process. Right? I'm trying to bulletproof you as an individual regarding starting this business and running this business. Right? But we need you to meet us 50% of the way. But these habits, these mantras, right? Affirmation, accountability, celebrating your small wins, and of course, the voice notes and mindset journals is super, super important. Right? It's super, super important. Okay? Super, super important. I'm going to ask you, what 3 things did you pick, Taha? What 3 things did you pick that you're going to use to stay consistent for the next 4 weeks? What 3 things?
For me personally, I'm going for weekly business check-ins. That's for me, it's number 1. I'm gonna go for this is not, I'm not really on this, but I'm going for kind of staying fit. Going to the gym regularly for me is quite important, and kind of I believe health as well. So for me, having a kind of a really healthy mind equals a really healthy sort of workplace and kind of all those things that come with that. And then lastly, I think it's just kind of reflection, and then it kind of comes into mindset journaling, I guess. But I've been doing that already, so I think I'm just carrying on.
Fantastic, fantastic. Damien, can you unmute? What 3 things would you be selecting?
So I'll be doing a weekly, I mean, all of them kind of tied together. So the weekly business check-in, a mindset journal. The mindset journal will help me in a way figure out my fears, my fears of the business and what I think is not doing too well. And by writing them down, it will help me to figure out maybe in the long term how I can set things out in maybe 1 week, a month, to a year, so it sets more goals. Then the business check-in is basically to see how I'm hitting those goals, the goals of different terms, and see how I'm approaching them. And the last thing is to celebrate the small things. And since my business is about creating like virtual avatars for content creators, in a way the product is the creator is the creator itself. Hence, by celebrating it, it also can be used for marketing for me. So it's hitting all the boxes for me. So I guess that's what I'm thinking of.
Fantastic. Thank you, Damien. Bethlehem, I hope I've pronounced your name right. If I haven't, please, I apologize.
No, it's okay. It's just Bethlehem. But I think I'm going to do the weekly business check-ins because I like to kind of discuss what's on my mind with someone. So I really appreciate that. I think I kind of already do like the affirmations, but I tend to do them like in the moment when I kind of feel like I have like a negative mindset or like a negative thought. I always try my best to correct it in the moment. And I'm like, no, like just don't think that. Think more positively, or like I correct it in the moment. So I guess the morning, trying to do it in the morning as well would be like really good for me because I feel like it already does kind of help me correcting it in the moment. So seeing it every morning would be great. And actually, I have journaling on my vision board, so I should. I tend to only do it when I'm feeling frustrated or overwhelmed. I think doing it weekly would be really good.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much for sharing. Now, you're going to be going into detail of these things in your one-to-one sessions, right? On how to roll it out practically so it's sustainable for the next 4 weeks. Right? For the next 4 weeks, you're going to be going through this on a deeper level in your one-to-one sessions. Okay? So, like I said, in terms of the implementing these things, I would want to just share this thing to you in terms of how to apply daily, okay? Keep a mental model checklist for decisions. Every decision that you make, try to have almost like a reflective analysis of your day before you sleep. I tend to do that, right? Just try to look at the decisions that you made concerning the business. Were you able to work on the business? You weren't able to work on it? What did you find difficult? Did you reach out to someone? Did you speak to your business coach? Did you reach out to the team? Did you reach out to the friend? Like, try to ask yourself, did I do the best I could have done in this scenario, rather than sitting here feeling this way, right? Just check in with yourself in terms of a checklist of decisions. And the next day, try not to repeat those decisions. Do something different, okay? Do something different, which is where the reflect weekly, which models did I use, right? Apply in versions before big moves. How could this fail, right? A lot of the times, critically thinking about what you're doing before you do it helps you to make room or put in processes that allows you to fail. But even if you fail in a controlled environment, right? Anything you want to do, just ask yourself, how could this go wrong, right? And work out a way to ensure that when it goes wrong, you don't land head first. Again, we're going to dive into this in your one-to-one sessions. Okay, we're going to dive into this in your one-to-one sessions. And use the 80-20 rule to cut out low-value work. Right? 80-20 rule. Right?
Can I
80. Mhm.
can I add something on this, Obed?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Amazing, thank you. I was really interested in the mental model. I think I also saw your video on the WhatsApp channel, and then added a comment on the mental model piece because Amazon, yes, they're bad for some things, but they're really, really good at applying mental models. And one of their mental models is called the one-way or two-way door decision making. And how it is like if it's a one way, when you were faced with making a decision, if it's a one-way door, it means you make that decision and you can't come back from it. And then a two-way door is if you make a decision, you can always come back from the other side of the door. So that means you can always kind of look at other ways to reverse that decision, and it's not final. And so one of the things I've used is when I make a decision, especially even if it's a small decision, like what campaign should I use, when should I launch, stuff like this. Consider if it's a one-way door or if it's a two-way door decision making. Like, can I reverse the decision, or is it going to be a lifetime decision? And most of the time, I find a two-way door, but there are some times where it's a one-way door. For example, if you're going to be leaving a job and going to a completely different industry, you're kind of having to make that complex and big decision, which is a one-way door. But it's a mental model that I've been applying to my life. Thought I'd share, maybe perhaps people might resonate with two-way door, one-way door.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. This is your homework. This is where Trello comes in. Trello. Last week, Trello comes in, right? Trello comes in. Thank you so much for sharing that insight. And please, can you put the link to the book in the WhatsApp group chat, if you can do that for us, just in case someone wants to post it or someone wants to read more about it. It would be good to get the link. So please share it in the WhatsApp group chat. Thank you so much for that. All right. This is your homework. Now I'm going to ask Gift. Gift, I haven't heard from you, right? I haven't heard from you. When you're ready, Gift, go ahead and read out homework, and let's make sure that everybody understands. Please make sure this goes into your Trello in terms of your tasks, right? Your tasks for this week. Gift, when you're ready, let's go.
Okay, I'm ready. For homework, 1, choose one mindset habit you would stick to every day or week. Number 2, set a 1-minute daily routine to check in with your goals or intentions. 3, write your personal mindset commitment and stick it in your journal, phone, or laptop. 4, video record yourself reflecting on today's section and how you plan to move forward as an entrepreneur. Example, I commit to showing up even when I feel unsure. I will take action, learn from failure, and believe that progress matters more than perfection. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gift. Thank you so much. All right. So this is the homework, right? One that I'm particularly very, very interested to see the outcome of is the video record yourself reflecting on today's session and how you plan to move forward as an entrepreneur. Why? Because this is going to act as the first step in recording your journey as an entrepreneur. Now, before your launch date, and in terms of building a personal brand for you online right now, we need to know who's behind the business. And we need to know the journey that this person is going through to build his business. This will actually allow people to gravitate towards whatever you're trying to do, because there's a human element to this. There's a progress element to this. And I would want you to start creating a series of videos every single session to reflect on the session, what you've taken away and what you're implementing, and how that's going to help you to move forward as an entrepreneur, right? This goes towards your social media challenge, right? I believe Indigo spoke about it in your induction event, right? This goes towards it as well. Now, in your one-to-one sessions, if you haven't recorded it by then, I would want to see it before next week's session in your one-to-one. I would want to see that video. Now, it doesn't need to be perfect. Those of you that are perfectionists, it doesn't need to be perfect, right? Because I want us to be able to track these contents that you're releasing, these different videos that you're releasing. We can actually see the improvements. We can actually see where it's picking up. We can actually see you finding your voice. We can actually see you communicating effectively your business, right? These things will go towards your pitch as well to highlight the change, the transition, right? If you're not a video person, guess what? The business needs you to be a video person, right? And it's one thing creating the video and it's another thing posting it. We are going to create the video and we're going to work on posting it, right? But it's one step at a time. One step at a time. Homework is simply choose one mindset habit you stick with every day or week. Set a 1-minute daily routine to check in with your goals or intentions. Write your personal mindset commitment and stick it in your journal, phone, or laptop. Video record yourself reflecting on today's session and how you plan to move forward as an entrepreneur. Right? Does anyone have any questions regarding the homework? Does anyone have any questions? Now, if you don't have any questions, is everybody clear what the expectations are? Right? Please put it in a chat. Are you clear in terms of what the expectations are? If you're having any difficulties, you have, right now, you know who your business coach is. You know Giovanni, right? You know the team, right? I've started doing this myself because today I recorded a video and I put it in the chat. I didn't want to do it, but I understand that it's good to also vlog. It's good to also show what you're doing in a video format. So I'm actually doing what I'm telling you to do. Right? But let's grow together, most importantly. Right? Let's grow together. I need you to scan the QR code for the feedback for this session. Scan this QR code. The feedback, it takes about probably like 20 seconds, right, to give a feedback of this session. Okay, to give a feedback, to scan it and complete the feedback. This will help us to ensure what we're doing right, what we're not doing right, how we can support you and things of that nature, right? So just take a picture of it, scan it, and please complete it, right? When you're done completing it, just put it in a chat, done. Just put it in a chat, done. Now, whilst we're doing this, for those of you that have completed, I want you to unmute and give final reflections of today. Those of you that have completed the feedback, Adriza, I want to hear your thoughts about today's session, what you're taking away, right? I want to hear your thoughts, Adriza, when you're ready.
So my thoughts of today's session and what I'm taking away is I'm more reflective on my process and just me as an entrepreneur and a business person. I think it's very easy when starting a business to look at the product and to look at exactly what you're selling, what you want to do. And I think that's a lot of what my mindset has been, is more focused on the product instead of the actual person and the heart behind it. So that's what I'm taking away from today, and more understanding of what I can do to better myself in order to better the business and to change my mindset.
Thank you for sharing, Adriza. Jennifer, when you're ready, final reflections, Jennifer.
I'd say that I learned that self-doubt is something that everyone experiences and it's not an individual thing, and that those are the things that will limit you in progressing, and that if you're not able to kind of reframe your mind and understand that you can do anything just as much as anyone else, there's people who've had less and it's still achieved what they need to achieve, then that's when you're able to kind of break through and be consistent and actually believe in yourself.
Thank you for sharing. Natalie, when you're ready.
Sorry, I'm still looking for my participation ID. Yeah, for me today was really great because, yeah, I've been kind of fluffing and not being really sure what to do. But yeah, building a kind of weekly check-in and setting goals each week and using Trello for that, I think it's gonna be great.
Fantastic. Caddy, when you're ready.
I think for me, it's like my motivation to get started. Like I've started, but then like I fall off. And this is like, we all have self-doubt. We always have all these thoughts, but we need to just keep going. And if you don't try, you're not going to get anywhere. So why not try?
Amazing. Aisha?
The biggest takeaway that I have is to prioritize action despite the levels of perfectionism I might have about things.
Amazing, amazing. Bridget?
I'd say the biggest take back is basically prioritizing self. I've kind of been on a journey to prioritize myself, and obviously the link between having a routine, doing things consistently really links to entrepreneurship. So the way I want to move as an entrepreneur moving forward and breaking it up into like the 4 weeks rather than the 12 weeks kind of makes it a bit easier for me. So it's just kind of getting my mind, body, and soul right. And if I can be consistent with those 4 things each day for 4 weeks, I know I can implement the same for my business. So yeah.
Fantastic. Sarah?
A little similar to what someone just said. It's difficult to make sure you're doing something every day, working towards the business, since no one is asking us and checking in, and it's difficult to be accountable. So I think this session has really made me think, all right, what am I gonna be setting for my daily goals, daily tasks? And yeah, I think this 4-week kind of a 4-week challenge is going to be good to have the weekly goals. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Ron?
Hi, I think what I've gotten the most is the mindset and just being consistent with doing everything. I think that's the thing that I find like the hardest is actually putting it into practice and actually fulfilling every little thing that I said that I would do. So hopefully that would be a lot easier for me in the long run.
Thank you so much. Jamie?
I guess my main takeaway from today is about taking action rather than always trying to, I guess, become an expert first by learning from others or theory or whatever it may be.
Fantastic. Janine?
Is the question the takeaway?
Yep. What is your final reflections, takeaway from today's session?
Let me can you come back to me?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fatima?
Like many of the others, I would say it's been like just to like reflect on my mindset, because I think just through this like the 2 hours that we've had, it's made me realize that like my mindset is actually my biggest barrier. So just kind of like changing my mindset, and actually like having confidence, yeah, just believing in myself.
Fantastic. Nadia?
Just an echo of what everybody said, really. Just your mindset is your most important thing. If you don't fix your mindset, then your business basically won't thrive and succeed, because the only person who should believe in you the most is yourself.
Amazing. Janine?
I've just read through my notes. I think the thing that was the most surprising to me was when you were talking about failure, and you said to prevent failure, you have to basically write down what could go wrong to prepare for it. And I never considered that that's something that you could do. I was just always like, oh, focus on success. So that was very interesting. Thank you.
Fantastic. And last but not least, thank you so much, everyone. It's always a pleasure to have a session with you, and of course, learning more about yourselves and business, and even just taking out this 2 hours of your time to be here is honestly very, very, very much appreciated. And of course, we are still building. This is the foundation, right? Your next session is on Wednesday, which is on the digital sessions. We are moving into building our landing page. Why? Because we want to test quickly. We want to test our assumptions. We want to test what we want to do quickly, right? The feedback is what we're going to use to build something meaningful, okay? So on Wednesday, it's going to be very much practical. You're going to be given your websites, you already have your logins, and we will start building your landing pages, okay? Now, I want to say again, thank you so much. You've done an amazing job. Please make sure you sleep with 2 eyes closed, right? You don't need to keep one eye open. You are on a good path. And I'm really, really, really happy with your progress so far. Let's keep it up, right? Consistency beats everything. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Sleep well, like I said, and I will see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful evening. Those of you that want to stay behind and speak to me, you can. If you want to stay behind and speak to me, you can. But if you don't have anything to say,